Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. Also welcome to my May 2024 TBR, in which before I take you through all the books that I'm planning to read in May, I tell you all about my process about how I choose books for my monthly TBRs. A Bookstagram friend, Simran from Booktographer, after seeing my long ass TBRs and this little TBR jar over here and her own long TBR, asked me how I choose books to read every month. I told her in short and she replied saying that she would love to see a video about it, and I thought, yeah, let's do it. Maybe this will be something that will help you people handle your growing TBRs a little. Not to say that I have a full handle on my own TBR, it is out of control is what it is. But maybe you can find something of use in here. Maybe you can tweak it to fit your own reading preferences and maybe that will work for you. First and most important thing to remember is that these monthly TBRs are like the books themselves. They work for some, they don't work for some, and it might even go from working for you to not working for you overnight. So don't beat yourself up if you make a TBR and aren't able to stick to it, or halfway through the month you find yourself gravitating towards a different set of books. It's fine. Where's the fun if you don't meander time and again? TBRs for me are a way to recenter myself at the beginning of each month, to remind myself of the books that I have and about how excited I was to read them when I first got them. So when I make that monthly TBR, it's always a renewed excitement for the books that I'm talking about. Now, there are multiple parts to my TBR making process. First up are my current reads. I see if I am currently reading any books and which I think I will carry over to the next month, and I add them to that next month's TBR list. Then I move on to the subscriber pick for that month, which are books that my YouTube subscribers choose from a list of 5 books for me to read and vlog for them. The only thing that takes some thought for this is when I have to choose those 5 options for the poll, and for them I usually go by my gut, mixing a couple of new acquisitions with books that are already on my TBR. And then I wait for a few days to see which book wins before adding that to my TBR. Easy peasy, right? Moving on to the next set of books, these are usually for any readathons that I'm participating in, and I don't have a lot of leeway for this because the prompts are usually specific enough that I don't have a lot of books to choose from. For example, in January this year it was Literary Hanami, in which we read Japanese literature, and in February it was the whole romance vlog thing, and in March it was my own drama queenathon as well as Korean March, and April has probably been the only month this year in which I haven't participated in a monthly readathon. Although I am taking part in the year-long buzzwordathon, which is being hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala, in which every month we have a different buzzword and we have to choose a book with a title that matches that buzzword. So you can choose one book, you can choose multiple books, whatever suits you. Then I add any review copies that I need to read and review to this list. These are non-negotiable, so there's no thinking involved. Only thing is that I always shuffle the position where I mention these books on my TBR list. Then moving on to any books that I'm actually feeling really excited about. They could be new releases, they could be books that are already on my TBR that I've somehow gotten excited afresh for, could be anything. And then if I'm planning to do any vlogs, I also add the books that I need to read for these vlogs to my TBR, and these are also super specific, so there's not a lot of mental gymnastics that goes into it. There are 2 such secret projects that I'm planning to do in May, and I'm just like, I'm fine! Totally fine! The penultimate thing that I do is that I round off my monthly TBR list to the nearest multiple of 5. I add any book that comes up through a random number generator to this list. I don't know why I do it, I just know that I have to do it. Lastly, I remind myself that it is a tentative TBR and that I can veer away anytime, because even though I love making TBRs and they are helpful to me, I'm also more often than not ruled by my mood. So to show respect to my mood reader side, I don't take my TBR, my monthly TBR, to be as set in stone. I just consider it as a guiding path, a guiding light of sorts. If I stick to it, great, amazing, brilliant. If I don't stick to it, still great, because there's still some reading getting done. And that would be my recommendation to you as well. If you don't like making TBRs, if you like to mood read, then mood read. If you like making TBRs and if you like the structure that it gives you, by all means make TBRs. If you like making TBRs but you also like to mood read, that is also fine. Do whatever it is that makes you excited about reading. Until then, maybe you can try different things and different combinations until you find one that works for you. If it takes time, it takes time. It's completely okay. Okay, now moving on to a more colorful part of my TBR. So I told you how I love making TBRs and about how I also like to mood read. One thing that helps me with both my TBR making as well as my mood reading is my TBR jar. Now keep in mind that I don't always turn to this jar because half the time I'm going where my mood or mind take me. But when I'm feeling really indecisive, I do turn to it and I pick out a chit from this bunch and it helps me pick my next read. So basically I write down the books that I added to my monthly TBR and make chits out of them, and I add them to this TBR jar. At the end of each month or at the beginning of each new month, I sift through the previous month's chits and I discard those that I've already read, and then I retain the ones that I think I will or might read in the coming month, or the books that I will be carrying over, the ones that I'm currently reading. And then I make chits for the fresh books that I've added to the coming month's TBR, and then those I add them to this jar. I don't have colored sheets here, so I use the sticky notes that I have and fashion them into chits. And the color that I choose for each month or whatever it is completely dependent on, you guessed it right, my mood. So once this is ready, I turn to it throughout the month for guidance for when I'm feeling particularly lost or twitchy. Another thing to remember here again is that you can allow your mood to lead you even when you are choosing books from your TBR jar. If you draw a chit with a book that you read the title of and you don't feel like it, you can always drop it and pick another. It's your reading. You dictate what you want to read. You dictate what you feel like reading, irrespective of how many tools you use to direct it, to channel it, to handle it. Please remember this every day that you read. So now that this whole exercise is done, I set up my TBR corner and I put all of these books in one place so that it makes it easy for me to access all of them whenever I want to. And sitting in front of it or in top of it, depending on, my mood, is my trusty TBR jar. So that is how I choose books for my monthly TBRs. Let me know in the comments how you pick your TBRs and if there's anything in this video that you relate to. Now moving on to my May 2024 TBR. First up are the books that I'm bringing in from April, some of them from February and March, first of which is You Hold On. And I won't be talking much about these books, okay, because I feel like I'm running out of excuses. So the first one is this, David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. That's it. That's all I'm saying on the subject. And the second is Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. The third book I'm bringing in from April is Against the Loveless World by Susan Abulhawa. I'm about, I think 20% in. I have to keep stopping because I'm getting red with anger. And then On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. And I see a pattern here with the subscriber picks. And then one of the books for one of the secret projects that I'm doing this month, and I'm hoping against hope that I am able to put it up when I want to. Now moving on to the subscriber pick for the month of May, there are again 5 options. First of which is First Live Wins by Ashley Elston. I've heard amazing things about this book. This is supposed to be a thriller of sorts in which there is a double identity and the main person has to find a way to get their identity back or to prove that they are the person that they say they are, and the doppelganger is not. I am going to read this irrespective of whether or not this gets picked, and at this point it doesn't look like this one is going to get picked. So, and then Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri. Not saying anything else, that's it. And the third option that was given was Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This is one that feels very universally loved to me. Everywhere I see, there are people going nuts about this as well as about the adaptation, and I thought maybe this will be a little push in the right direction and maybe I will finally end up reading this. And then, where did that go? Where did I put it? A new release from an author who I've really enjoyed the writing of, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is about two people who come together to break a kind of a curse or something, and I am here for it. I love Abby Jimenez's writing because it's so funny, it's so charming in its own way. I shouldn't do this. I read a couple of sentences and now I'm emotional. What the heck? Okay. And the next option that I gave for the poll was Homegoing by Yagyasi, but I don't think that's going to win. But aside from that, you know what the situation is? At the time of filming this, the poll shows that Interpreter of Maladies and Lessons in Chemistry are on equal footing. They have equal number of votes. I'm posting the poll down in the description box below. Go vote and help me out. I don't think I can do vlogs for both of them. I'll still be reading First Live Wins and Just for the Summer and adding it to this TBR. So basically only 3 out of these 5 books get added to my May TBR. Ha! I don't even know why I'm so smug about it. Then The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Do I have to say anything about why I'm adding it here? Next is Friends, Lovers and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. I will keep adding this to my TBRs until and unless I finish reading it. Plus this is also part of the first half of the year TBR. So ergo, I didn't read it in April. I want to read it in May. Another book that's part of my first half of the year TBR is Daughters of the Sun, Empresses, Queens and Begums of the Mughal Empire by Ira Mukhoti. This was recommended very heartily by a very dear friend of mine for I think 3 years now, and I have the hard copy back at home, but I never got around to reading it. Her recommendations are always on point, so this is one that I will definitely be reading in May. Next is the book for Buzzwordathon being hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala, and for the month of May we have the buzzword of every. So the books that we choose have to have the word every in the title, for which I have chosen Everything We Keep, which is the first in the Everything series by Kerry Lonsdale. This is about a woman who has lost her fiance. He has died, and how she is getting back to her feet, but there is something amiss in the way the people around her are behaving. Plus, a woman has come up to her at James's funeral and has told her that James is alive. What exactly is going on? She needs to find out. And I have started this book already, and I don't know whether I like it or not. I'm just about 13-14% in, so I'm just taking it easy at the moment. Next is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike-Imide, and this is the author's second book. I had loved Ace of Spades that I read earlier this year, and it is one of my favorite books of 2024. And when this book came out, I got super excited, and when I saw that the author was holding a giveaway of an exclusive Waterstones edition, just look at this. It's a signed copy also. I just entered on a whim and I won, and this makes me so happy. And then the remaining volumes of Full Metal Alchemist. I have about 5 books. I don't math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 3 volumes each. So that means I have to read the remaining 15 volumes of Full Metal Alchemist. Then next is Lives Not Lived by Monica Bhatti. This is a review copy, and you will be seeing a short review of this book very, very, very soon. Then there are 5 more books in addition to the one that I was talking to you at the beginning of the TBR section of this video. And again, this is also for that secret project that I will be putting up at the end of this month, that I'm hoping to put up at the end of this month. I don't know if it's going to happen, but Then 3 more books, one of which is here. I have a physical copy of, which I will be reading for another secret project, which I will be putting up at the end of the month. I'm like 90% sure I'll be putting it up this month. And then 3 books that I added to my April TBR but never got around to reading. And first of them is India, A History by John Key. And nothing else needs to be said. And then there is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden, one of my most anticipated books of 2024, and I still haven't read it. And this is a sort of a pattern that I see. Moods. See? We come back to the same thing. Moods. And the last book is How to Kill Men and Get Away with It by Katie Brent. Okay, so there are a lot of books. There are 30 books in this TBR video. I don't learn, do I? Nope, I don't. So that was me talking to you about how I choose books for my monthly TBRs and taking you through my May 2024 TBR. Which of these books have you read? Which ones do you want to read? What books are you adding to your May 2024 TBR? How has April treated you? Did you find any favorites? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.